Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing? Live wire, it's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it, so official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back. Whether on the field or on the court, you know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying. This is Live Wire, sports and entertainment. Let's go.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another morning edition of Live Wire Sports Media. This is your Monday motivation. And I have to say this. The more I come across information on this Fee and Kathy Engelberg situation, the more I find out more in depth about stuff. And the thing about it is, I'm not the only one who feels this way. I'm not the only one that's digging. Shout out to Beat Chef. If you don't know who he is, go look him up. Subscribe to his channel. I'll probably leave his link in my description box so you can find him. And I have listened to a lot of different people who have come up with a lot of information, and what he's saying is no different from what I have been telling y'all in my videos. The real reason why. I did a video on it yesterday. The real reason why. And he came in today with the same thing, but guess what? He added a little bit more into it. And safely to say, Fee is out here trying to line her a private union with these players. And I didn't know that a lot of players was part of as a player rep for this team. And it makes sense because when he brought up Aaliyah Boston and Lexi Hall, it made so much sense because Lexi Hall has been very vocal about this. Now, Sophie's been very vocal, but I don't think she's a player rep for the team unless Aaliyah Boston has stepped aside and she took Aaliyah Boston's spot. Now I think I don't know if she was a player rep for Phoenix when she was with them, but anyway, nevertheless, it made sense. He brought up all the players and he broke down why Fee did the things that she did and why she is on so much immense pressure because players are looking towards her because she made promises that she can't keep. And I did not know that Athletes Unlimited is powered by the Loop, the company that Kathy Engelberg used to work for. And they have a conjunction with the WNBA. When he break it down, it's going to make so much more sense to y'all.
The reason why Naphessa didn't go to this meeting is very, very simple. She has created a group within her own Players Association and has staged them and hid them in Unrivaled. See, each team has a player rep. Most teams have two. You have a primary and an alternate. Around 19 of them, the players that have been player reps, have either played or are going to play in Unrivaled. Unrivaled right now only has 48 spots. A couple of them haven't declared or been offered a job in Unrivaled this year that were originals. Tiffany Hayes, Stephanie Dolson, Vandersloot. Vandersloot's out with blown knee. Tiffany Hayes is out with injuries. Stephanie Dolson probably could just use a little rest. She's an older player. And she lumbers when she goes down the court. But the rest of the players, if I go through the list of union reps, let's just start with the executives. Kelsey Plum was in Unrivaled originally, and then she backed out. She's in for season 2. Of course, we know Shuck and Jive, Naphessa Collier, and Breonna Stewart. Both the vice presidents in Unrivaled and vice presidents in their Players Association. But on the teams, this is what Naphessa did. Naphessa, before she became president, was also a player rep. So she has a relationship. She builds relationships. She's been in the league for several years. She's built some relationships with a lot of these players.
All right, so I'm going to pause it for real quick because I'm going to run down who's on the WNBPA um board. So check this out, guys. And this is where you got to really pay attention to this stuff because it's very, very important. Nneka Umake is the president. Kelsey Plum is the first vice president. And guess what? Kelsey Plum is an arrival in the second season. She's the first vice president. Elizabeth Williams is the treasurer. Elizabeth Williams, who played for the Chicago Sky. Breonna Turner is the treasurer. Breonna Turner, yes, is the treasurer. She plays for the Indiana Fever. Alyssa Clark, Naphessa Collier, and Breonna Stewart are the vice presidents. So Alicia Clark probably is the second, Naphessa is the third, and Breonna is the fourth. And Kelsey Plum is the first vice president. So she's the head. But you don't have nothing from Nneka, and you don't have nothing from Kelsey. Because you know why? Naphessa Collier and Breonna Stewart probably cahoots them into this unrivaled thing and thinking of everything. Now, here's the player reps. Nas Hillman is the primary. Brianna Jones, the ultimate. Rachel Banham, who just came in Unrivaled this year. Nas Hillman Unrivaled this year. Ariel Atkins is the alternate. Rachel Banham is the primary. Marina Mabry, who knows in her second season for the Connecticut Sun, is a rep. Enrique Omowale, Maddie Segrist, both primary, one primary and the other one alternate. Kayla Thornton, Golden State Valkyries, Timmy Van Bentley, neither one of them is in Unrivaled. Leo Boston, Lexi Hall, we already know them. Chelsea Gray, Aja Wilson is the alternate, but Aja Wilson most likely won't go into Unrivaled. Sanaya Fagan, the Sparks, they don't have an ultimate. Diamond Miller, Bridget Carlton, both of them. But Diamond Miller is no longer with Minnesota. Then you got Sabrina Ionescu is the primary. Isabel Harris is the alternate with them. Now it's going to be interesting if Sabrina Ionescu goes to Unrivaled for the second season. Then you got Kalia Copper and Kalani Brown. Lexi Brown, Izzy McAdor. Then you got Steph Dawson and Leah Edwards. And you got the WNBA staff, Terry Michael Jackson, executive director, Jane Appel Monanini, senior vice president of player relations. She doesn't do anything. Aaron Drayton, senior advisor and legal counsel. Michael Golster, senior vice president of business and legal affairs. Adrian, AJ something, whatever her name is, managing director of operations, and Matt Pritchett, executive assistant. All right, so let me get back to the video.
So she convinces them, hey, we got this new thing coming. We got some investors. You need to jump on board. The ones she didn't get initially, she got them as relief players. Those would be somebody like, say, like a Nas Hillman. Nas Hillman is a player rep for the Atlanta Dream. Ariel Atkins is an alternate player rep for the Chicago Sky. She was a relief player that got called up in Unrivaled. But the other player rep, the primary player rep for the Chicago Sky, is Rachel Banham. Rachel Banham will be in her first year in Unrivaled. It was announced a couple days ago. If we go to the Connecticut Sun, they have one rep on their team. That is Marina Mabry. She's in her second year being in Unrivaled. If we go to the Dallas Wings have Enrique Ugunwale and Maddie Segrist. Enrique will be in year 2. This is Maddie Segrist's first year in Unrivaled. The Golden State Warriors don't have anybody that is a player rep that's playing in Unrivaled, but they do have Tiffany Hayes on the team, and she was a player rep for the Aces last year. She's hurt right now, but she's not going to play in Unrivaled. Aaliyah Boston and Lexi Hull are going to be in season 2. They were both in season 1, and they're both player reps. Chelsea Gray and Asia Wilson are player reps for the Aces. Chelsea played in Unrivaled in season 1, and she will be in season 2. Sanaya Fagan's a rookie, which is very interesting that they got Sanaya Fagan on there as a player rep being that young. But last year, the player rep for them was Cameron Brink, and she's in year 1 and year 2 of Unrivaled. Diamond Miller and Bridget Carlton are the player reps for the Minnesota Lynx. Neither one of them is an Unrivaled. Sabrina Ionescu and Isabel Harrison are the player reps for the New York Liberty. Sabrina was in Unrivaled last year, and also Courtney Vandersloot was a player rep for the New York Liberty last year. She's out with the ACL, so she won't be back. Kalia Copper and Kalani Brown are the player reps for the Mercury. Kalia Copper is an Unrivaled player in season 1 and 2. And Lexi Brown and Ezzie Magbagor are the player reps for the Seattle Storm. Ezzie will be in her first year at Unrivaled. She wasn't in there last year, but she's the alternate player rep for the Seattle Storm. Stephanie Dolson, Big Mama Dolson, and Aaliyah Edwards are the player reps for the Washington Mystics. Of course, we know Aaliyah Edwards got traded this year. Stephanie Dolson has not been announced as a player in Unrivaled just yet, but Aaliyah Edwards is in season 2. She was also in season 1. So if you just go and look, and I'll leave links to the Players Association player reps and a link to the Unrivaled rosters. All the ladies I named that I said were in Unrivaled are on the roster for Unrivaled. It's over a dozen women out of 48. This is the reason why Naphessa doesn't want to face the music. She's under immense pressure. She has co-opted her union for her business. These players have gotten promised big salaries and a lot of perks. So she has to stand on that with them. She also has investors. She has investors that want Caitlin Clark. They want Asia Wilson. They want somebody marketable. And they damn sure want Caitlin Clark. That was probably a huge bargaining chip that they get Caitlin Clark in year 2. That's why she's been real nice and real complimentary of Caitlin Clark all season. The only thing about it is Naphessa doesn't understand that Caitlin Clark is highly intelligent. Smells the BS all the way from Shuck. Understands that Kathy Engelbert is also a snake and a liar. Mm-hmm. But Naphessa ain't too far from it. Folks, what happened at Unrivaled, and that was the key part that you had to hear, it wasn't that she said anything about Caitlin Clark. You got to understand, Naphessa, up against a deadline, has this information that she has in her back pocket about a conversation she had with Kathy Engelbert at a rival company event, which is funny as hell anyway. They have a conversation. It doesn't go the way Naphessa likes, but she hears tidbits that she can use for later. Remember, she's just now becoming a businesswoman. So, she's going to wait till after the season, after she wins the MVP, after she gets a title, all this and that, and she's going to drop this bomb on Kathy. Because I don't like Kathy anyway. But Alyssa Thomas taps her leg and kills her season. Now, she can't go at Alyssa Thomas because Alyssa Thomas is unrivaled, but she can go at Kathy. Now's the time to to pop this little pertinent piece of information that she dissed Caitlin Clark. Kathy's hurt. Kathy's offended. Damn, we were just bullshitting about our leagues. You got to understand, folks. There's a business entity called Athletes Unlimited. If you open up the WNBA app, the WNBA app is powered by Deloitte. Kathy Engelbert was the CEO of Deloitte.
As you heard what he said, Athletes Unlimited is powered by Deloitte. Kathy Engelbert was the CEO of Deloitte.
Yep, let me see. Let me open the screen for you just so you can see what I'm talking about. Powered by Deloitte.
Mm-hmm.
At the bottom of the screen. You can watch all the Athletes Unlimited basketball. That's the key thing with Athletes Unlimited. Athletes Unlimited is a platform that supports women's sports in general. So they do soccer, they do softball, they do basketball. But the WNBA has like a pseudo relationship with them because it promotes their players.
Mm-hmm.
And it keeps their players from going abroad.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's already an entity that's already doing this, you don't really need Unrivaled.
Exactly.
You don't need 3-on-3 when you got Athletes Unlimited doing the same exact thing right around the same time. And it's almost perfect. Athletes Unlimited is closer to training camp than Unrivaled. So when Athletes Unlimited ends, you can go right from Athletes Unlimited, go right into training camp, and then go right into the season. And it's 5-on-5. So why not make the investment in that if you're a female? And Athletes Unlimited's mission statement is basically the same as Unrivaled. Now, very interesting on Athletes Unlimited, started in 2022. I'm gonna go through some of the names of the executive board. It's like the WNBA, the executive board of the Players Association in the WNBA.
Hi.
Sydney Colson and Natasha Cloud are two that you would know. That was from 2022. Lexi Brown, Natasha Cloud, and Sydney Colson in 2023. Lexi Brown, Sydney Colson, and Lexi Brown, Sydney Colson, and Lexi Hull, 2024. Isabel Harrison, Sydney Colson, Lexi Brown, in 2025 currently. Those are the basketball player executive committee members. They go over all the aspects of the game, the rosters, establishing the rules and the scoring, all that stuff. That's what they do. That's what they do. But one thing about Athletes Unlimited that that the Unrivaled doesn't do, they don't try to compete. Everything that Athletes Unlimited does always references the WNBA. For instance, on their page it says, the league features 40 of the best women's professional basketball players in the world. AU is providing more opportunities for women to play professionally in the U.S. and also giving WNBA players the option to remain in the U.S. year-round. There's already a platform. But when you're greedy and selfish, you come up with a 3-on-3 league. And that's because the Unrivaled League is basically a tadpole. They wanted to turn it into a damn frog. And when it turned into a frog, it'll be 5-on-5. And the goal is to take over the WNBA. Because keep in mind, Natasha Cloud said this on X this weekend. Take a look. Now, Natasha said that And I said, you know what? That's the second time I've heard that in the last 2 months. Earlier last month, or back actually 2 months ago. It was it was August, late August, I believe. I did a video where Alex Bazell was talking about how he had went to the WNBA to get an equity stake, and the they didn't bite because they wanted the equity stake with no control, no say. Just give the money over. Just give us the money. You get some equity, and we'll run the show.
And see, this is what I was saying in my last video is that they want the WNBA to fund their brand, but don't have no control of it. See, the WNBA has control over Athletes Unlimited. You know what I'm saying? And with their strong ties and commitment to them. If Naphessa Collier and her husband wanted the WNBA to, they didn't want them, they tried to get them equity, but they didn't want no parts of it. And what they wanted to do is try to make sure that the WNBA doesn't control Unrivaled. That was the sticking point there too. Also, they didn't want, and WNBA was like, nah, if we gonna have anything to do with y'all, we going to control everything in there. You not going to have, we gonna give you money, then you gonna play in the WNBA and Unrivaled, you gonna double dip money. You know what I'm saying? See, they was trying to outsmart Kathy Ingeberg and the WNBA, and it didn't work.
And the WNBA passed. Natasha Cloud just validated that. We tried to give them some equity, and Kathy turned us down. So imagine when Kathy was at Unrivaled, imagine what the conversation was between her and Naphessa Collier, and it didn't go so well when Kathy told her, baby, what about Caitlyn? What about her? She made her money with us.
Basically,
she made her money after she signed with us. We're the biggest entity. See, Kathy can talk that talk because Kathy got NBA money behind her. Naphessa can't get Caitlin Clark in season 1. Couldn't get her in season 2, but she goes scorched earth with the conversation bomb, and she throws it out there, and everybody gets pissed because it involves Caitlin Clark. But it wasn't really about Caitlin Clark. It was about not getting access to the funds that the WNBA has through the NBA. And Kathy passed on it. We already have Athletes Unlimited, but we can control them. You don't want us to control you. That's what Fee's problem is.
And if you think about it, go back to where Ice Cube was trying to partner with the WNBA. I mean, not with the NBA. And the NBA turned Ice Cube down. It's the same thing because Ice Cube don't want to give up control of his big three, which he already made successful and big. But the NBA is not taking on that because the NBA gonna want to control the whole thing. They're not gonna just come in as a partner and put money up into your brand. It's the same thing with Naphessa Collier and Rival. They want the WNBA to fund their money for their platform, but they don't want to give up control. And the WNBA is not messing with them on that. They already got Athletes Unlimited, and that's why Kathy. That's why the beef between Kathy Ingeberg and Naphessa Collier is in this situation as it is. Well, this is why Naphessa Collier is in this situation she in now.
You got to understand also, folks, Fee's got 3 things going for her. She's got investors on her neck, her husband's neck, because they need to get Caitlin Clark. She's got her own faction of players that are in Unrivaled and not in Unrivaled that are breathing on her neck. And she's got the players on the outside looking in who honestly want to survive, want to check, want players that aren't in the league that would love to get back in the league. She's got all of them at her neck. And now you got to dance with the devil at a bargaining table a week after you talked all that shit, she don't want them problems. She don't want that smoke. Because you got to face the music sometime. You're going to have to see Kathy.
Yeah, correct.
You either see Kathy and rep the players like you had, because if you notice who came out talking, all of them were unrivaled players for the most part. Natasha Cloud, Lexi Hull, Tiffany Hayes, Erica Wheeler. All these players that were online talking, they're all unrivaled players. They got a vested interest in her succeeding with the plan that she sold them on. She sold them on a plan to sell out their own bargaining unit and go with this plan, because this plan will get us paid on both sides of the house.
And that's why the WNBA is not touching it, because they're not gonna allow them to double dip. And who in the right mind? That's like me working for Ford, but then trying to get on with BMW at the same time, getting 2 checks out of one. There's nobody in their right mind. That's why I say these people think because they own a little business that they could go against people that have been in business for years and years and years. See, all of that stuff that Fee did was just a mechanism because she couldn't get what she wanted out of Kathy Engelberg and the WNBA. It was never about Caitlin Clark. She threw Caitlin Clark in there as a measuring stick to make Kathy look bad in front of the public eye. That's all that was. Whether it was true or not, but at the same time, I keep saying this, and I said this stuff is deeper than we was looking at, and the more and more it continues to come out on the situation, and this is why Naphessa Collier don't continue to hold up the CBA agreement. They has offered them, even if you go back and listen to Kathy Engelberg's words and how he's going to explain it to you, or what she was telling the players in that meeting. Because the fact of the matter is, Naphessa doing is representing the players, but what they going back and really telling the players. See, if I was a player and I don't even know something, I'll start doing research myself. I'll start asking questions. Is Naphessa really telling me what's really going on in those meetings, or are they just lying just because they don't want to get the deal done? You don't need people to represent you like that if they out there for their own agenda. Is that, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, these players is going to have the ass end of the stick. That's just like me. If somebody say, "Oh well, the company don't want to pay us, they doing this," the first thing I do, I go looking for information and ask people, important people that's running it, and say, "What's the deal?" and get my best knowledge. These players in the league don't need to leave it up to the WPA, the WNBA to do it for them, because all they're doing is say, "Oh, well, they came off of with the table and they slapping us, and it was a slap in the face." It wasn't a slap in the face. Y'all out here trying to run an agenda and trying to make the public eye seem like the league and Kathy Engelberg is treating y'all unfair, when that is not even a damn case.
That's why everybody's not involved. Because if they had money out the wazoo and they had control over all the players in the association, they would open up 100+ spots. Quickly change the league to 5-on-5. It doesn't start till January. If you got all this money and all this influx of cash, give everybody $200,000, because right now at the 50, it's a $10 million salary cap. Just give everybody $200,000. Go up a couple notches. Spend $25 million. Give everybody else, and give some of the star players a little more money. Just go make it an even 25, 30 million, and y'all gonna make y'all money back, right? They want the WNBA to acquire them. That's why her husband went to the WNBA first. the original people that were on Unrivaled, the original players, they're the ones that got an equity share in the league. The new players aren't getting the equity share. What they're going to get, they're going to get their money from an equity pool. But the original players have stock in the company. So imagine if the NBA wanted to swat a fly and they say, oh, how much we pay y'all to go away? And they write that check. Naphessa is paid. The investors are paid. All the players are paid. That's what Kathy Engelbert knows about Naphessa. But Kathy ain't gonna say that because Kathy's got to juggle between the WNBA and Unrivaled. Now, if Fee's plan had have worked, it probably wouldn't have been well for the players. So they fired Kathy Engelbert, which she deserved to get fired, to be honest. She's a terrible commissioner. But say they fire her. And they bring on Adam Silver. And he says, I'm going to take care of this one personally. Adam Silver ain't playing them games.
Exactly.
Adam Silver's not going to have a private conversation with you. Or any of you. Especially after you tip your hand.
Exactly.
Adam Silver going to go over to the wall, turn the light switch out, and say, take all of them. We don't give a shit. We're tired of paying for y'all butts. Have fun. And he'll let Unrivaled have all of them. And it'll be Unrivaled take all or nothing. And they don't want that. They want to get bought out. So dealing with Kathy would much be more advantageous for the 156 players that need a job than dealing with Adam Silver or his deputy director, who will be trying to make a big splash in his first job running the league as the guy, and Adam give him the green light to shut that bad boy down. He just shut it down and keep on moving. So Naphessa is dodging that deadline coming so fast because she had it planned out. Oh, I keep this in my back pocket. I win a title. I win MVP. I spring it on the world. Caitlyn gets mad. Caitlyn joins Unrivaled. Now we got the biggest star in the game on our roster. The advertising dollars flow in. We're making money. And one Alyssa Thomas breakaway layup off of a steal changed Naphessa Collier's whole plan.
All right, guys. So I'm gonna stop it there. But now you get a general idea of what's truly going on behind the scenes. Bree, Anna Stewart, and her husband, they want the WNBA to fund them. And they want the money that they have because they seen that the WNBA and everything, how they operate with Athletes Unlimited. They're not. And by you tipping your hand or by you doing the stuff you did because you're emotional, now it just shows you what kind of person you is. Now, for all the people say they continue to believe Fee, if you still seen it, like I told y'all before, I don't trust neither one of them. And I have said it so many times. I don't trust neither one of them. But if you representing players in a union to get a deal done, but you out here master planning your own agenda, I don't need you representing me, period. I don't care how you people think of Fee. I ain't on Kathy Engelbert's side, but I understand business from a business standpoint, and that's how I talk. I talk from a business standpoint because I know what it is. I know, I see it. I work for a company. You know what I'm saying? I work for BMW, and pretty much I understand how it runs in there. That's why they don't want a union, because they know a union will help change a lot of stuff that goes on into the company. You know what I'm saying? So Fee, you went by it the wrong way. And the thing about it is, you thought that Kathy was going to fold by you publicly trying to humiliate her. And then you threw Caitlin Clark's name in there. That's why Caitlin Clark had looked the way she was, because she was pissed. Because you shouldn't have put her name in there. And me personally, if I was Caitlin Clark, I would trademark my name. So stuff like that, what Fee did, would never, ever happen again. You cannot utilize my name or weaponize my name for your own agenda. And that's what Fee did. Because she knew she was never going to get Caitlin Clark in Unrivaled. Caitlin Clark was never going to participate in Unrivaled. Not now, not last year, not now, and not ever. They want the WNBA to buy their company, be a partner of their company, and put money into a company that ain't worth nothing. Now you got 40-something players, 48, and I think it's up to 56 because you have alternates. And then you're trying to get all these players to align with you to go against the WNBA. And I said this before, 48 out of 166, that ain't enough because there's not enough roster spots on Unrivaled. And I said this, if the league lock out, you best be sure that the league before the 2026 season, if the league continues to stay locked out, they will move on under the until that new CBA is done. They still have the right to operate under the old CBA because the deal is just not just completely dead. But they will find players to run that league for 2026 after all the 48 players sits out. That's why Angel Reese is in there. And I doubt that if Angel Wilson wins the title, she ain't coming into Unrivaled. She's going to take a vacation. That's why Sabrina Ionescu hasn't joined yet. I'm telling you, these players starting to see what's going on with Fee and how she's trying to manipulate the situation. It's bad business, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Until the next episode. I'll leave the link to the video in the chat. And I'll put the link to the WNBA PA for y'all. Until then, have a great Monday.
Hey, so amazing. You see how they playing. Live wire. It's all about sports and entertainment. You don't want to miss it. So official like you never seen. Keep it going till the whistle blowing from the referee. Everything from highlights and stats. You know that we gotta run it back. Whether on the field or the court. You know that this is where it's at. Subscribe, no delaying.